Hello, and welcome to the debut of HBM's UFO Corner. We are talking about this week Roswell. Very controversial. It's a very controversial case. But I'm going to talk about it, so let's get into it. First of all, I'm going to talk about Stanton Friedman and his assessment of Roswell and what happened there. Now, this commentary seems to be a bit critical of Stanton Friedman. Says that Stanton Friedman is a nuclear physicist who has worked for General Electric, Westinghouse, and other companies in the design and development of fusion rockets and nuclear power plants for space applications, and is acknowledged as the premier investigator of the Roswell incident. More accurately, after Friedman received his MS degree in nuclear physics, he spent 10 years working for 4 companies in his academic specialty. But since the mid-70s, he has made his living not as a physicist, but as a researcher, book writer, and paid lecturer on the subject of UFOs. He is perhaps best known for his book Crash at Corona, written with Don Berliner, and numerous TV appearances. There are some very disturbing claims made in the book Crash at Corona. The author has placed great emphasis on this excerpt from the Twining letter. The phenomenon is something real, not visionary or fictitious. This is in a book that is attempting to show that an alien spaceship crashed in New Mexico in July 1947, and the Air Force knows this and is hiding the truth. It is at best deliberately misleading and at worst totally dishonest. When discussing this quote, Friedman quite conveniently omits that the Twining letter states this is only an opinion. It is the opinion that the phenomenon is something real and not visionary or fictitious. Further, Friedman neglects to include that Twining went out of his way to state that this opinion was based on eyewitness reports and some small studies only, and that it should be kept in mind that the lack of physical evidence in the shape of crash recovered exhibits, which would undeniably prove the existence of these subjects. So, in a book attempting to demonstrate a conspiracy by the Air Force to cover up the procession of a crashed alien spaceship, Friedman not only quotes out of context from the Twining letter, but deliberately omits that the letter also stated that there is no physical evidence in the shape of crashed recovered exhibits. Had the Air Force indeed been in possession of crashed interplanetary craft, as Friedman claims, Twining would surely have commented on it. The Twining letter further states that it is possible within the present 1947 U.S. knowledge to construct a piloted aircraft which has general description of the object in subparagraph E above, which again conflicts with Friedman's concept that the Air Force had a crashed alien spaceship, unless, of course, the alien spaceship used 1947 technology. So there's quite a bit of controversy as to whether or not the Air Force actually did cover up a possible UFO crash and subsequent alien recovery, alien body recovery. And Stanton Friedman obviously claimed that this may have been real, that this may have actually happened. We'll get more into it but I'll include this link below for you guys to take a look at and make up your own minds. Do you think Stanton Friedman was on the ball and was on the right track, or do you think he fell for a hoax, or do you think that it was indeed merely a weather balloon that crashed in 1947 in Roswell, near Roswell? There are those who swear that they saw alien bodies and that they handled an alien aircraft. So who knows who's telling the truth? What really happened at Roswell? Behind the rumors of America's most infamous UFO incident. In the annals of American UFO history, few incidents have inspired as much fascination and speculation as the one in Roswell, New Mexico. It began in the summer of 1947 at the dawn of the Cold War, when the U.S. Army Air Forces sent out a shocker of a press release announcing they recovered a flying disc from a ranch near Roswell. More than 70 years later, the incident remains a defining aspect of the area's identity. The town boasts a UFO museum and research center, a flying saucer-inspired McDonald's, alien-themed streetlights, even an extraterrestrial quote-unquote family stranded in a broken-down UFO on the side of the State Route 285 looking for a jump start. But behind all the UFO mania lies an uneasy truth. The events that transpired that summer are anything but clear-cut, with admitted cover-ups and conflicting explanations. It was a saucer, it was a spy craft, it was the Soviets. And new ones are still emerging. Here are the agreed-upon facts about the Roswell crash. Sometime between mid-June and early July 1947, rancher W. Mac Brazel found the wreckage on his sizable property in Lincoln County, New Mexico, approximately 75 miles north of Roswell. Several flying disc and flying saucer stories had already appeared in the national press that summer, leading Brazel to believe that the wreckage, which included rubber strips, tin foil, and thick paper, might be something of that ilk. He brought some of the material to Sheriff George Wilcox of Roswell, who in turn brought it to the attention of Colonel William Blanchard, the commanding officer of the Roswell Army Airfield. The next day, the RAF released a statement writing that the many rumors regarding the flying disc became a reality yesterday when the intelligence office of the 509th Bomb Group of the 8th Air Force, Roswell Army Airfield, was fortunate enough to gain possession of a disc through the cooperation of one of the local ranchers in the sheriff's office in Chavez County. According to that statement, Major Jesse Marcel, an intelligence officer, oversaw the RAAF's investigation of the crash site and the recovered materials. The government changed the story about the Roswell saucer a few times. The following day, the Roswell Daily Record ran a story about the crash and the RAAF's astonishing claim, but U.S. Army officials quickly reversed themselves on the flying saucer claim, saying that the found debris was actually from a weather balloon, releasing photographs of Major Marcel posing with pieces of supposed weather balloon debris as proof. For decades, many UFO researchers were skeptical of the government's changed account, and in 1994, the U.S. Air Force released a report in which they conceded that the weather balloon story had been bogus. According to the 1994 explanation, the wreckage came from a spy device created for an until then classified project called Project Mogul. The device, a connected string of high-altitude balloons equipped with microphones, was designed to float furtively over the USSR, detecting sound waves at a stealth distance. These balloons would ostensibly monitor the Soviet government's attempts at testing their own atomic bomb. Because Project Mogul was a covert operation, the new report claimed a false explanation of the crash was necessary to prevent giving away details of their spy work. So, what we have here is conflicting reports from the government and conflicting reports from military officials. Oh,
The term UFO hunter is a rather peculiar one because it covers an awful lot.
Sorry about that. So we have claims and counterclaims about this story. Was Roswell a real incident? Was it just a weather balloon? Was it a UFO crash? We don't know for sure. Was Roswell a UFO from the USSR? That's another theory that's cropped up. Now, Jesse Marcel Jr. wrote the material was metallic, and I could see what it looked like writing. At first, I thought of Egyptian hieroglyphics, but there were no animal outlines or figures. There weren't mathematical figures either. They were more like geometric symbols squares, circles, triangles, pyramids, and the like. We don't know much about Roswell other than what we've heard. Was there a cover up? That's a good question. We don't know that either. Should we believe our government on this? I personally don't. This is an interesting mystery, and one that won't be easily solved, I don't think. And that's going to do it for this week, the inaugural edition of HBM's UFO Corner. We hope you've enjoyed this, and we hope that we've maybe made you think a little bit about the possibility of what could have happened at Roswell, New Mexico in July 1947. Quite a fascinating case. I mean, next week we're going to be examining Project Blue Book, not just the TV series, which ended, in my mind, way too soon, but the actual Project Blue Book itself and J. Allen Hynek. Should be quite fascinating. So until next week, y'all be good or be good at it. It's HBM's UFO Corner.